here we have a federal radio. Federal. Not to be confused with federal government. Actually, this was made by ITT, the same company that did ITT Tech. Don't worry, they didn't own it when it became a disaster and shut down and left students stranded and all that. See, it says ITT Associate. You know, it's got a little bit of damage here on the top. Can't really do anything about that. That's just whatever. This is kind of interesting because you can see how the cabinet is. It's they call it beetle plastic. It's a type of plaskon. It's an early plastic made from urea and formaldehyde. It's you know, it's not like Bakelite where it's comes out brown or black and is pretty heat resistant and stable and everything. This is thin. It's very fragile. You look at it wrong, it cracks. You know, you can see here, this is probably where the rectifier and the output tube are, and it's turned brown here. It's cracked here, so yeah, that's what happens with these. But let's see if we can get it working. I'm going to take it apart and we'll see what's in it. The chassis just slid right out the back. There were no screws holding it in. Just as soon as I took the knobs off. And what do we have? We have, I think it's all original. Maybe that 0.2 has changed. I don't know. Hard to tell. Definitely the original electrolytic. You can see the rivet to the chassis. So, you know, that's in great shape. So I think what we'll do, it has these wonderful IF transformers that never work properly. These, I'll just show you the top here, these IF transformers are known to be a disaster. This speaker doesn't look so good either. Oh good, it's a broadband voice coil. Well, interesting, okay. We'll see what it does. I might be able to do something with that. Yeah, these IF transformers, they, it's a different type of build, and they put the little capacitors, there's mica capacitors in there, and what they did was they put them as part of the transformer itself, and the silver, it migrates to the other side of the mica sheet and causes it to basically short intermittently, and you get, it sounds like a lightning storm outside when you listen to the radio. So the way you fix that is you take the whole thing apart and you remove the mica sheet and you add capacitors underneath. It's doable. The question is it fun to do? Absolutely not. I'm gonna check this output transformer, make sure I get some sound out of the speaker, do a couple little quick checks just to make sure it's gonna do something, and then we'll change those filter caps, and probably there's 3 critical capacitors in this. Well, there should be anyway. There's the filter cap here. There's a chassis grounding cap or across the line cap, which is, I'm not sure, probably one of these up here. That needs to be changed, and then the coupling capacitor that goes from the previous stage to the output, that will also need to be changed. And I'm going to check these resistors here because they're probably way out of tolerance. Did a real quick check of these resistors and they actually check out okay. Check the output transformer, seems okay. Check the filament string. You can do that actually by connecting your meter across the power cord, obviously unplugged, and then turn the power switch on, and you'll end up with you know, a reading and it should be about 100 ohms or so. Now I'm looking at this and I wonder if the volume control is replaced. Look at the shaft on that volume control. I don't know, it's possible. You see part of the cabinet broke off with this, so that's gonna have to be glued back on. It's a little tip about changing these capacitors, right? So these filter capacitors came in a big can like this. This is gonna go, we're not keeping that. You can see how the positive of the red is connected right here. So that's a 50 microfarad, which I have here this is a 47, I believe, yeah. This is the 47. So that will replace it. Now, I buy, for these types of radios, I buy these axial lead capacitors. I like them better. What that enables me to do is to literally just connect from here, right like that, to here. And that's the right way to do it. You don't want to have these wires hanging around. You don't want to have like it flopping over. You really want to create, if possible, a nice connection between the two. Sometimes when you replace these, you can see I started here. It makes sense to change what's underneath. So this capacitor here, I'm going to change it just because this is the time to do it. Otherwise, I'll find it more difficult. This one here, that's the across the line. You can see the end has blown out, so that means it's definitely no good. We got the two filter capacitors changed. So this is ideally how you want to do it, where you have a nice connection. They're not flopping around, they're staying still. You've got the across the line capacitor there, that's a safety capacitor. Down here, I replaced that other one. I'm not sure what that does. Might be a coupling capacitor. Yeah, I think so. Well, yeah, might be. Yeah, that's what that would be. Got most of the critical capacitors changed here. This is the one across the output transformer, coupling cap, across the line cap. This one, I just figured I'd change it because it was right there. It's to the volume control. That one doesn't matter as much. Got both of the filter caps changed. Left those in for now. Just want to test out the radio, see what happens. Okay, so the radio is about to be powered up. I've got my dim bulb tester over here. There's some old parts. We got my variac. I'm going to turn the variac on. Put it up to 10 volts. Oh, got some pilot light glow. That's good. Or 25 volts, sorry. 25. Let it just sit for a minute. So the other reason to power up with a variac, I mean, there's a few reasons. First, you want to make sure there's no short somewhere that you weren't able to find. Second reason is when you install new capacitors, they kind of need to be formed. I mean, they should have been at the factory, but you don't want to just suddenly apply 160 volts or whatever they're rated at. You want to ideally bring them up a little slowly. So that's why I do this too. That's 65.
Doctors try to save his life. And number 3, Mayor Eric Adams has now lost nearly $1,400 from his nearly $10,000 paycheck. He converted it to Bitcoin last Friday, though of course he owes income taxes on the higher amount. Now our WCBS News Radio 88 seconds in sound for this date, January 24th. The victim was treated at the scene. Images of the suspect, who's still out there, are up on our website, 1010wins.com. So nice. And the Anti-Defamation League is offering a reward up to $5,000. A week after a hostage-taking in their synagogue, members of...
Okay, so we have a working radio minus a terrible speaker that sounds like it came out of the bottom of the ocean. Yeah. So there's a couple things I can do to this. But before I do that, since the radio is working, we have a good radio. Clearly these IF transformers are not bad yet. They will be eventually someday, but they're not right now. So that's a good news. Changed the rest of the capacitors. You can see the only thing I did here, which I'm not too happy about, is that, and that's because it would not reach all the way to down here where it's supposed to be mounted. So had to do that. Otherwise, it looks pretty good. Resistors are all pretty close. I cleaned the volume control a little better. A little trick for cleaning out a speaker. If you take a piece of like film packaging or, you know, actually old 35mm film, you can open up this dust cover here, and you just want to kind of gently clean it by moving it up and down inside this the space between the voice coil and the pole. You can destroy the speaker this way. So, just an FYI. If that doesn't fix the problem, the other thing you can do is you can spray some water on it. And let it sit for a minute, put a shim in it like that. And then I'm going to dry it off with a heat gun. Obviously we're on low here. What we're going to do is we're going to dry this off, keep moving it, and let it stay still. I'm going to dry this off so that it resets into place where that shim is. Sometimes this will fix it. It's a lot better. Now, this fix doesn't always last. Sometimes the cone likes to go back to where it was before. I've had to do it a couple times. Had one radio, it lasted and it's been working for years. Had another one, I could just not fix it no matter what I did. This obviously needs a little bit of a repair over here. That's not a big deal, I can do that. But speaker sounds like it's going to sound better. So let's power it up and see if it sounds better.
Now, better news in Greenbridge, southbound of the Sawmill Parkway, south of exit 17. That broken down vehicle is cleared. On Long Island, eastbound side of the southern state, the bad news is you are jammed up between exit 24 and exit.
To be convinced, and it's harder. The employers would love to
Sounds
bring
a lot
people
better.
back, but we've got to
great.
show them. So this is some
Microphone on your goatee, because that's what it sounds like right now.
Yeah, that was strange. Go figure. Oh well. Now we can say
We got some reception. Oh, here's a Spanish station. Those always come in. Wow. Okay, we got some.
later on.
If I can get
Does it make
10.
more to go with?
More. I think that's exactly right. It's not about that nobody can ever cut down a tree.
Not a bad radio.
It's
Seems to
not.
work all right.
It's not that.
So I cleaned up the case a fair bit. Still got this crack on it, which I can't get rid of. But the case looks pretty good. Use this stuff. Seems to work well. And then the Q-tips here to get into areas like this, you know. I'm gonna do that one more time. Probably should be done. I went ahead and glued the speaker using this stuff, just a clear caulk. Works very well for this. I've cleaned up the cabinet. Looks pretty good. I have re-glued the two spots inside those two little things that poke out. There is a crack in the bottom here. Again, can't really fix that. I've cleaned these knobs best as I can. They're not totally white. They don't completely match the cabinet, but they're better than they were.
In the future. Because she was on the phone.
She timed well during the break.
Yeah.
Damn, there's now because you're.
What's different?
As a kid,
IRR and Metro North will be fully on board 6 months later. Actually, it won't be in the subway.
Bojo.
There's a $10,000 reward up now for the person who shot a baby.
Got splitting. Flavors of what ifs out there.
Situation could threaten to destroy the progress made by generations in building a peaceful order.
We're going to start offense meeting at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays. This multiple medical issues, and he'd been serving his sentence at the Federal Medical Center in Devens, Massachusetts, before being transferred.
So it still needs to probably have that treatment done to the speaker again. The speaker seems like once I've glued it, it started to go back to where it was previously. So I'm going to probably take it apart and do that again. But otherwise, radio's working.
We're making QuickBooks work, sort of.
Watch your language. The kid.
Seeing the delays going all the way back to the pattern lately.
Not
It's,
that looking radio.
you know,
I love
stays
how the
below
dial
freezing, sub-freezing temperatures for
lights up this
2-3 days.
cabinet.
Get a brief warm-up, and then the cold comes right back in. And this is the
Kinda
case once
pretty.
again.